I live in a 23-story building, in an apartment on the 15th floor. Not penthouse level, but definitely high enough that nothing should be touching my window, ever. And until 3 months ago, I never questioned that. I never thought about who or what might be on the other side of a window that high. But now I do. Every night. So, here's what happened. It was close to midnight on a Tuesday. I was still awake, finishing some work on my laptop. The city was quiet. And then I heard it. Tap. Just a soft sound, like a fingernail on glass. I froze, because it came from behind me, from the window. I remember telling myself it was nothing. You know, temperature changes, metal expanding, wind pressure. I even tried to laugh it off. But then it happened again, louder. Tap, tap. 2 quick knocks. Clear, intentional. I turned around slowly, and there was nothing. Just the dark city skyline and my own reflection in the glass. I stood there for a moment, staring at nothing, reminding myself that tapping noises happen in old buildings. But the thing is, the building is not old. It was built in 2019. There's no loose exterior siding, no trees, no balconies anywhere near my window, and I'm 15 floors up. Still, I forced myself to blame the wind, turned off the lights, and went to bed. The next morning, I checked the window. Nothing unusual, no cracks, so I moved on with my day. But that night, it happened again. This time at around 2:16 a.m. 3 taps. Tap, tap, tap. Evenly spaced, like someone waiting for me to answer. I sat up in bed so fast, I almost pulled a muscle. My heart started pounding in my throat. I didn't go near the window this time. I just listened. Nothing. I must have sat there for 20 minutes, waiting for the sound to return. It didn't. The next day, I adjusted my thinking. Maybe the HVAC system is causing pressure shifts. Maybe a bird hit the glass. Maybe I'm overtired. Anything but the thought that someone was knocking. By the third night, I had convinced myself it was in my head. But when the tapping started again around 2 a.m., something new happened. After the tapping, I heard a dragging sound. Something scraped slowly down the outside of the glass, like fingertips pulling downward. That sound will stay with me forever. Soft, slow, deliberate. I was too scared to even get out of bed. I stayed absolutely still and listened until the sound faded. The next morning, I asked building security a casual question. Hey, are there workers doing anything outside the upper floors? Window cleaning? Maintenance? They said no. No crews, no ropes, no scaffolding, no drones. Nothing. And definitely nothing at 2 a.m. I laughed it off in front of them, but my hands were shaking. Then came the 4th night, and that night changed everything. At 2:03 a.m., right on schedule, I heard something. Not tapping, not dragging, but breathing. Light, barely audible, but unmistakable. It was on the other side of the window. And then, a shadow moved. Just the faintest shift, as if something or someone slid out of the frame. I jumped out of bed and flipped on the lights. Nothing. Just my apartment reflected back at me through the glass. But I couldn't ignore it anymore. I called security and asked them to check the exterior footage. They said they would call back in 10 minutes. Those were the longest 10 minutes of my life. When they called back, the guard sounded confused. Sir, we checked the cameras facing the courtyard side of the building. There was nothing. No movement, no shadows, no birds, no animals. no people, and your windows are too high for anyone to reach without equipment. If someone were up there, the camera should have caught it. That should have comforted me. It didn't. Because whatever I heard wasn't on camera. 2 days later, something even worse happened. I was getting ready for work when I noticed something on the window that hadn't been there before. Smudges, fingerprints, on the outside of the glass. I pressed my fingers against my side of the window to compare. The smudges matched fingertip size, same spacing, same shape. 5 distinct prints, as if someone had placed their hand flat against the glass while looking in. I called security again. They swore nobody could have accessed the window. It was impossible. Still, I asked them to send maintenance to examine it. When the maintenance guy arrived, he didn't want to say much, but he did say this: "You're not the first person on this side of the building who's reported noises." I felt sick. "What kind of noises?" He hesitated. Then he said, "Knocking, tapping, scratching." I asked him if he knew what caused it. He looked at the window, silently, then back at me. "I don't know, but it's always around the same time, isn't it?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. He nodded like he'd expected that. Then, and this is the part that still gives me chills, he lowered his voice and said, "This building was put up fast, real fast. Whenever a high-rise goes up quick, sometimes they miss things. Things under the concrete, things behind the walls. Sometimes there were older structures, tunnels, shafts, vents, things that never got fully sealed." He shrugged like it was nothing, but to me, it wasn't nothing, because that meant something could be behind the walls, not outside the window. Something that could move through old shafts or forgotten spaces. That night, I barely slept. But at 2:18 a.m., I heard something new. Not tapping, not dragging. A voice, just one word, whispered so faintly I thought my brain was making it up. "Hey." My whole body locked up. Goosebumps, cold sweat, heart pounding so loud it drowned out my breathing. I didn't move an inch. I didn't even dare pull the blanket over my head. The whisper came again, this time from slightly inside the room. So soft you almost miss it. "Hey, let me in." I jumped out of bed, grabbed my phone, and ran into the hallway. I didn't go back inside until the sun came up. The next morning, I went straight to the leasing office and told them I needed to break my lease, effective immediately. They tried to convince me to stay. They offered upgrades, discounts, repairs. I didn't care. I left. And here's the part that still haunts me. Last week, I got a message from a friend who still lives in the same building. He said another tenant, 2 floors above my old apartment, filed a complaint. Someone knocked on her window at 2:07 a.m. She lives on the 17th floor. 2 days later, a family on the 19th floor reported hearing tapping, dragging, and whispered words they couldn't make out, all on windows facing the same direction as mine. Security checked the cameras again. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yesterday, my friend sent me a picture from a group chat in the building. A new tenant posted a photo. Outside their window, on the 21st floor, 5 fingerprints, pressed against the glass. If you ever hear a knock on a window that shouldn't be reachable, don't go check. Don't look. Don't go near it. Just get away. Because some things don't need heights or doors to reach you.